I've just arrived in Noosa on the Sunshine Coast, and I have to say this up front, this is not a travel guide to Noosa. I'm gonna walk you through my very first impressions and reactions of what seems to be this gorgeous place. So come with me while I experience Noosa Heads for the first time in my entire life as a Brit who's not used to this kind of luxury living. And hey mate, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Sam, and this is a Brit lost in Australia, my completely serious attempt to not get lost, sunburn, or attacked by some sort of animal in this gorgeous country. So first of all, let's talk about Hastings Street. This is a iconic street in Noosa. I didn't realise how popular and busy it would be until we arrived. Now this street alone explains Noosa in 5 minutes. You get a range of people. Maddie and I were actually walking down the street one night and we could hear someone's conversation really loudly as they passed us, and they were saying to their mate, look, if my apartment isn't on Hastings Street, I'm not even coming to Noosa. So Hastings Street is like the epicenter of Noosa. Now some locals might absolutely hate me for saying this, but this is just what I'm seeing face value. Quite literally, the beach is on one side of it, and on the other side you have all of these lovely restaurants that have queues outside of them. They can be a bit hard to book a table if you're going during the holiday season, of course. There's billabong stores, which I swear we used to have in the UK, and then they just went extinct, but in Australia it's very much still in existence, which is great as it's an Aussie brand, and it's completely walkable but undeniably busy. Thank goodness though, there's lots of these, not zebra crossings, but like pedestrian island areas where when you're waiting to cross the road, most of the traffic, obviously check before you start walking out into it, most of it will stop and let you go. There's a good vibe, although it's very busy. It's also very exciting, and if you're only going for a week, it's very pleasant. This is one of those posh health shops, and it's very expensive. But when it's crowded, it's properly crowded. I can only imagine that in the winter season, it is so much more peaceful and probably far more relaxing. It was a bit of a struggle to find parking when we arrived at about 5 or 6 p.m. You would have thought everyone was leaving the beach, but the beach is, really popular in the evening as well. And so once we got that sorted out and we started walking out onto the street, it was a lot. So be prepared for the crowds, right? If you're going peak summer, what do you expect? Holiday destination, but just be prepared. And yet the moment the sand touches your feet, everything changes. So we got to talk about the beach. We spent a lot of our time here. If we weren't walking along the beach, we were looking at it from some sort of spot. Wow, one of my first times seeing this beach, and it's absolutely unreal. It's massive. I was about to say I've never seen anything like it. Byron Bay kind of reminds me of it a little bit, but it's just unreal. This beach is undeniably the reason Noosa is so popular. It's such a huge and gorgeous place. It's got a spot for surfers to go surfing. It's got lifeguards patrolling with flags, always swim in between the flags. And if you're doing bodyboarding, don't do it in the surfers area. They'll probably yell at you. We took our oakberry acai bowls that cost us like $16 each, and we sat on this brick wall looking out across the beach, and the shaved ice guy was there. I think he was called Bill, and I think he's a pretty, iconic part of the culture in Noosa. And there were cool cabanas everywhere, an Aussie invention I didn't even know about until I visited Noosa. And Maddie was like, yeah, they're patented. Most Aussies who love the beach have one of these. They're a bit pricey, but it's one of those products that you invest in and then you kind of have it for life. And they're genius, because in the UK we would only have parasols, like little umbrellas we dig into the ground. Great for big groups, great for families, and most importantly, great for sun safety, because especially in Noosa, the UV levels are no joke. I was checking it on a daily basis. It would be above 10 every single day. Just for context, anything above 3 is technically dangerous. So of course we got to live our lives. Anything over 3, you need to wear your SPF 50. And I say that as a Brit who was very ignorant to sun safety before I came here, got burnt on a really cloudy day on the Gold Coast, instantly realised for life how powerful the sun is here. Honestly, the beach was so clean. I actually went to university in Cornwall, where there's loads of gorgeous sandy beaches, but it's not uncommon to find a lot of litter on them, which is really sad. And obviously you pick it up as you go along, but in Noosa you didn't have to do that at all. And I love that Noosa, it feels like it welcomes everyone. There's families, there's surfers, there's tourists, there's locals, all existing together. Everyone seems really considerate of each other. There's actually some security along along the beach, I've noticed as well. I don't know if that's just for particular resorts though. Just a quick one, I noticed that over 87% of you who regularly watch these videos aren't yet subscribed, so if you're enjoying this, consider hitting that subscribe button. Let's get back to it. But the beach isn't the whole story, it's just the gateway into this next thing, because Noosa is this gorgeous holiday town which is super family friendly. Noosa knows what it wants it to be. It's not trying to be like Ibiza, right? There's not a club strip. Everywhere shuts very early in Noosa, I'm not gonna lie. Like, a lot of the kitchens would shut at 9 PM or earlier, and then everyone would be out by 10 PM and going back to their hotels and their apartments and stuff. Whereas some holiday places like this in the UK, for example Torquay in Devon, there's a lot of drunk people walking down the street and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to take my partner here, let alone my kids. But honestly, there was none of that really. It feels like a bit of a sanctuary for people who don't want to be involved in, like, you know, the party clubbing scene and just want a really lovely holiday and to feel safe in the evenings. And that's one thing, I never felt unsafe while I was there, even when it was late at night, even when it was really busy, even when some people were getting a bit loud because they'd had a few to drink. I never felt unsafe, and I think that's a really important thing about this place. And do you know what's really wholesome about it? Instead of people like absolutely smashed off their faces like you'd see back in the UK with a massive line outside the kebab shop, you'd see, you know, friends, families, partners, grandparents coming back from the restaurants, and there being long queues outside the gelato places. And those choices shapes the incredible people that Noosa attracts, because this isn't just a holiday town, it's a global town. And what I mean by that is, as I'm walking down Hastings Street, as I'm on the beach doing the coastal walk, you would hear accents and languages from all over the world, which means that this is a sort of bucket list item for a lot of people. And it's just so refreshing to hear all these different cultures and people loving Australia, loving Noosa, being outdoors, getting out on the beach. There's a really high repeat visitor rate in Noosa. You'll go once and then you'll just want to keep going again and again and again, because the memories that you created on that first trip are so brilliant that you just want to keep re-experiencing that. But nothing could prepare me for this bucket list item that you have to do when you visit Noosa. So now we are doing the famous Noosa coastal walk, the one that everyone talks about, and I'm really excited. So from my lovely Madeline's research, this walk is about 2 hours out and back. We're gonna try and do the whole thing if we have time for it before dinner. And apparently there's a lot of beauty to see on this walk. You do it and you never forget it. That's what I've heard anyway. Hopefully it lives up to it.
Every single person who we told we were coming to Noosa recommended that we do the walk. They were like, you have to do it.
By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you love Australia like me, then hit the like button. Oh my goodness. The light bouncing off the sea is mad, but look at this. Oh my word. If that isn't paradise, I don't know what is. Have you ever seen anything like that before growing up in Australia?
This is the perfect time of day to do it as well. I think the Byron Bay walk to the lighthouse would be the closest you get to this. The sea is so sparkly. It's amazing. I love it.
What keeps surprising me about this walk is that it just doesn't stop getting beautiful. That there isn't an end point. I mean, there is an end point, but every part of it you walk, you just get the best view of the coast. It's almost like they should have called it the coastal walk. This camera, even if I color grade this footage, probably won't do it justice. Just how beautiful the turquoise and navy blue water is, and there's surfers, and don't worry, it's below UV3 right now, so we're being very sun safe. If you come on this walk, you actually have a lot of shade because there's so many trees. Ooh, there's an animal in that bush. Yeah, there's so many trees, so you get lots of dappled shade, keeping you hopefully more sun safe. Another very handy viewing point. This is the dolphin lookout. Let's have a look. Let's see if we find some. We've made it down to the beach on this very, very rocky cliff. Thoughts?
Amazing. Very, very cool.
You love it?
Little cave there or something. I love it. It's perfect time of day to come as well.
It's almost sunset, the lights dipping, it's getting darker. The rush to get home is on. If you can, try and come at the golden hour, and you can, if you've got like the weather app or something, you can generally track that in the app. It'll tell you when golden hour is. Obviously it changes depending on time of year. Anything golden hour lighting touches just makes it look great, and you don't have to use any external lighting kit, so that's very nice as a filmmaker. But it's just, as you can see, like in the picture right now, it's beautiful. And if you're interested in what camera or mic I'm shooting with, I will link it down below. It's the DJI Pocket 3. It's a tiny little thing, so I would highly recommend it. I just want to mention briefly, this place is very expensive. The restaurants are way more expensive than prices I've seen in Brisbane, even Sydney to a certain extent. You will definitely be spending more on accommodation, maybe parking and food than you'd expect to. But there are some, you know, big supermarkets around, so if you've got a car, definitely use those if you want to save a bit of money. But the funny thing is, this place completely raises your standards for holidays, for pace of life, for how important a relaxing environment is. And Noosa doesn't try to impress you, it quietly convinces you this is the place to be without saying anything. And once that happens, you can't unsee it. This place reminds you what's possible. Noosa isn't just beautiful, it's generous. I really mean that. It's generous with space as long as you get off of Hastings Street. It's generous with time. Time feels like it just, you know, lasts a little bit longer there. And generous with how good life is allowed to feel. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like we don't let ourselves enjoy life because there are a lot of responsibilities we have. It's hard. It's hard being an adult. It shows you that when a place is designed properly, when nature is protected as well as it is in Noosa, when people respect each other, Noosa makes the extraordinary feel normal. And that is so powerful. And as a Brit, that hits quite hard. I think we're pretty hardy as Brits. We're good at pushing through. We're good at gritting our teeth and saying, look, I'm unhappy doing this, but I'll do it anyway, because people expect this of me. Some people think we whine a bit too much, but honestly, I think sometimes there's a lot to whine about, and we don't let on as hard as it can be living in the UK sometimes. But Noosa gently pats you on the back and says, mate, it doesn't have to be that hard. You can choose to live in a place like this, or even visit a place like this. You can choose to live your life like this. And when I visit somewhere like Noosa, it makes me immensely grateful that not only I moved to Australia, but I had the opportunity to. And if you haven't visited Australia before, Noosa should definitely be on your list of destinations, because once you visit here, you will look at life differently. I mean that completely. But if you want to keep the adventure going, don't click away yet. Go watch this video here about the 8 British habits I lost as soon as I moved to Australia. Click that, I'll see you over there, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all the new videos. Thank you for watching to the end. I will see you in the next one. Bye.